You're listening to Beyond the Plate with Andrew Kaplan. That sounds so weird. You're listening to Beyond the Plate with Kappy.
Hey everyone, this is Kappy, and you're listening to Just the Plate, a production of Beyond the Plate. Just the Plate is a short segment where chefs describe a recipe, sharing insider tips and tricks on what makes this their favorite dish. Last week you heard from Chef Massimo Bottura of Osteria Francescana in Modena, Italy. If you missed last week's episode with Massimo, please be sure to check that one out. To bring you up to speed, Osteria Francescana is a 3-star Michelin restaurant. In 2016, it was on San Pellegrino's World's 50 Best Restaurant #1 restaurant in the world. Currently sits at #2 in the world. He is opening another restaurant today in the new Gucci Garden in Florence, which is super exciting. If you are a Netflix fan, a fan of Chef's Table, Massimo was part of Season 1, Episode 1. Highly encourage you to check that out. And we sat down because he was coming through Chicago to promote his newest cookbook called Bread is Gold, Extraordinary Meals with Ordinary Ingredients. I highly encourage you to check it out because it's way more than a cookbook. Basically what happened is he formed I'll use the term loosely, soup kitchen during Expo 2015 in Milan. And what he did was called like 65 of his best chef friends from around the world to come to the soup kitchen. They all prepared meals, not all at the same time. They were there at different times, but they used food waste that they got every morning from around the expo. Massimo wound up turning that project into this book called Bread is Gold. I'll back up really quick and say those soup kitchens, they're called refettorios. He has 5 refettorios around the world right now, 3 in Italy, 1 in London, 1 in Brazil. He is eyeing New York. Fingers crossed that happens soon. And from this, he has now created a foundation called Food for Soul. They promote social awareness of food waste and hunger. So this episode's a super fun one. So as you know, Just the Plate always highlights a recipe that a chef may make at home for their family, their children, maybe one from the restaurant. But this one's super fun because there's 2 recipes you're going to get in here. The first one is from when I asked him the most amazing meal he ever remembers having. He talks about this milk soup, which in Italian is called zuppa di latte. It sounds very interesting. It sounds delicious when you hear him talking about it, like a childhood snack. And then the second part is pretty funny because at the beginning of the episode, I talk about how his mind is always going, and I want him to think of a recipe while I'm interviewing him and create a dish that best represents his love for cooking and my love for eating. So when I ask him what that recipe is at the end of the episode, he goes, I forgot. I said, oh, that's okay. He goes, but we can improvise. So then he goes on to say, let's make a tortellini. And he squints his eyes and looks at me and goes, you have a face that reminds me of a burger. He got really excited about this recipe. And if this recipe, based off of my face that looks like a burger, winds up being on the number 1, 2 restaurants in the world in Italy, that would be incredible. Okay, I'll stop talking, but this is Just the Plate. What's the first most amazing meal that you remember having?
My first, I think, is a warm cup of milk full of breadcrumbs, some chocolate and coffee and sugar.
I've heard you talk about this, but I need to know what to do, like if I'm at home.
You're home, you get whole milk.
Whole milk.
You put on the fire,
okay,
and you boil it. You let him sit. You get the skin on the top of the milk, okay? That's very important.
Okay.
Because it's the best part. Then you mix a little bit of sugar and a little bit of chocolate.
Like a spoon of sugar.
Spoon of sugar close with a double spoon of chocolate. You mix
chocolate sauce or like a piece?
No, chocolate powder.
Powder, okay.
Powder. Good one, of course. The better you buy, the better it is. Then you start mixing a little bit of warm milk in there. Warm, hot milk in there. Then you keep the skin on the side. Then you go on till you have a good warm chocolate. Then you put breadcrumbs a little bit at a time. You have to be careful because if you put too much breadcrumbs, you get so hard because the more it stays, the more absorb the liquid and the more...
And it's like porridge.
Exactly. And then when is a good texture, you put the skin inside and you start eating. That was my favorite meal when I was a kid.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Sounds pretty interesting, huh? All right, now for the next one. It's the tortellini, inspired by my face that reminds him of a burger. Enjoy. All right, we're wrapping up. Do you have a dish you're going to make for me?
Actually, I totally forgot about that.
That's perfect.
But we can improvise something. Give me something, and I'm going to tell you. Maybe we can do some ravioli full of, you have a face that reminds me of burger. So, we can fill a raviolo of a burger and in a cheese sauce. So we're going to transform into a cheeseburger and some crispy bacon on the top. That's a very good idea. Eh?
It's incredible.
It's an incredible idea. Think about a Parmigiano Reggiano sauce. Very, very light, very light. Raviolo filled with a mixture of everything. You get the burger, you put in a blender, you simmer everything, and you make a dough, and you put it inside the ravioli. You close the ravioli. You boil them very, very quick. You finish them braise into the Parmigiano sauce, in the liquid sauce. You get the feeling of the cheeseburger, and you make like the bacon crunchy, very crunchy. You put on the top, and you eat it. Come on,
Laura.
Come on. Cheeseburger ravioli.
Laura, if he ever makes this dish, I need to know about it. Find more on him at osteriafrancescana.it or foodforsoul.it. This episode was produced by Ian Cohen, Joel Yeaton, Shant Petrosian, and myself. You can find me and keep up to date with this podcast across all social media platforms at On Kappy's Plate or go to beyondtheplatepodcast.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast on your listening site of choice. Thank you for listening to Just the Plate, a production of Beyond the Plate. I'm Kappy.